live death every day.
When footsteps fall in eldritch hollows, and spectres flee into the shadows, that is the time when horror's heroes abound, culling the ghouls that go bump in the night.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday from the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty. My name is SHANTH ENJETI. You're watching SHANTH ENJETI Art, and today we're painting horror's heroes, but we're also painting a classic novel. We're doing a painting on canvas, and I'm trying out a brand new setup. So this is mostly, with the exception of my mic, which God knows what kind of shape that's in right now. This is, let me know if the audio's any good. We are going to be working on a painting that I want to see if I can paint on canvas and have it be remotely clear for you guys when I'm doing so. So let me just adjust this a little bit, and then I'm going to walk you through what I've been up to in terms of my setup here, which is nuts. Is that all right? Is it coming in okay? Sound is adequate? Thank you so much, Past Master Dan. And let me go and see who we've got in the house here. Where are all my channel members? Where are my people? We got Stephen Rockwood, the first, the foremost, the alpha, the omega. We've got Mark's Music Obsession. Mark, you guys in Florida are having a heck of a time. I hope you're bracing yourself, battening down the hatches for the next storm. My goodness, we've got Citizen Ronan in the house. It is great to see you, Citizen Ronan. I hope you are doing well on this fine Sunday. We've got Crenshaw FAO. It is good to see you, my friend. I hope you are well. Past Master Dan in the house. Yeah, who is this guy not wearing a hat? I'll put a hat on in a little bit. I think you're probably right. I should. Maybe over my face. Sulcurialt is here. It's great to see you. Simply Green is here. Little bit of artifacting at 1080. Okay, that is helpful. Let me know. Oh, thank you so much, Sleeping Psychopathy. I hope you're doing well. Did I get all of my channel members? Make sure I got Mark. Okay, good. Just making sure I got all of you guys. So here's what I'm doing right now. And here's why it could be a problem. And it could work. It just depends. I know that's what I'm thinking, because canvas is pretty tricky. But this is what I'm doing right now. So I have got, what's up, Willie D? How are you doing, my friend? So here's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm currently using my iPhone as a camera, and so it's broadcasting over to my laptop. There's no cable connection right there. But more importantly, I've got it mounted on a ring light with the hope that it's going to be easier for you guys to see when I'm painting. So my hope is that you're going to get a better resolution picture, and that you're going to also be able to, and thank you, no sooner did I think of it than you posted it, guys. 15 days left on the Second Chance campaign for Nosfero the Crypt Walker, and the exciting news, at least for me, let me just double check, I don't want to speak too soon, is that we are almost to $12,000. So we're at $11,965. So we're a backer or so away. On the art edition or the regular edition of the book, we would be there. We'd be in great shape. So I've always been apprehensive about doing canvas painting streams because of the nature of the Razor camera and everything else, I just don't trust the technology. And the fun thing is that I've been doing a ton of work, doing a lot of different stuff right now. I was painting on something else practically all last night, and I started to realize that I need these streams are very, very important in terms of re-energizing, but also that when what you do for your work is also what you do for your hobby, sometimes it feels like you can get both of them done at the same time, but you really can't. You need to recharge sometimes. And it may sound odd to recharge painting wise by painting, but that's something I kind of realized. I haven't painted on a canvas in ages. And it's something that I really like because I tend to do far more expressive kind of Wyeth-y sort of stuff when I work on canvas. And at the same time, I was sitting and working on some stuff and helping out with Mrs. Enjeti's school, and I was sitting at a desk and I was thinking away and stuff like that. And this sketch, this image for a Dracula piece, just came to me. Amen. NC Wyeth is the man. Like every now and again, I will send a text message to Eric Weathers and go, just a base coat, Wyeth, because Wyeth is amazing. But I was thinking about the novel Dracula, and I was thinking about it a lot. And then I'm getting ready to do a pre-recorded video for my series, Forget Everything You've Been Taught About, and it's going to be Bram Stoker's Dracula. And so I, like a lot of people, was watching, or aware of Salem's Lot. I haven't seen the new version of it yet, but I know that there was a remake of it. It's gotten, mixed reviews and all of that sort of stuff. But I was kind of curious to see, to take a look at the book, because I've never read the book. I've seen the original television miniseries. I haven't seen the one with Rob Lowe. But I was curious to kind of see, I haven't looked at the book in a while. And whatever one thinks about Stephen King and all of that in his Twitter output, the thing that I was struck by, and I have to respect, is he talked about, amen, that museum is amazing. Yeah, the Brandywine Museum. I've seen a few Wyeths in person, and they are incredible, and they are enormous paintings. I'm a huge Wyeth fan. But I was listening to it, and on the audiobook, he actually recorded his introduction to Salem's Lot. And here's what got me. And I have to tip my cap to him, and he has to get my respect for this. He goes, contrary to all of the stuff that you see, the kind of the darkness and the obsession with Dracula that people see, when I read Dracula, he goes, what struck me was that it was an adventure story about these heroes chasing evil from London to Eastern Europe all the way back to Transylvania, and then defeating it at sundown. And I went, yes, that is what the book is about. Somebody gets it. Somebody gets the Dracula that's never been made. And it was so, they've tried it a few times. Bram Stoker's Dracula just emphasized the wrong aspect of it, as far as I'm concerned, or at least the aspect everyone emphasizes, which is somehow Dracula as this romantic figure that he never was in the book, instead of the heroes. So the heroes are kind of seen as in a somewhat cynical light, and they even went so far as to give the beautiful sort of aspect of Quincy Morris's speech and Jonathan Harker and Quincy's sacrifice. They gave that to Mina and to Dracula. And that's always kind of frustrated me. And so I was sitting there and sketching and thinking about it, and this sketch just kind of came to me. And the sketch, the idea for it anyway, was to represent, this is pretty much what we do here. This is what we're doing in this space. Rather than complaining, making stuff, making things that are an answer. And I said, there really isn't, by my estimation, a really great classical adventure painting that has perfectly captured that final struggle. The final struggle that, results in Quincy Morris giving the last full measure, Jonathan Harker decapitating Dracula, all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of messy struggle that happens at sundown in that book to defeat evil. It's so cool. And so I had this painting that I've been working on that some of you guys may have seen, but I had another painting on this canvas, and I decided I'm going to use this canvas and I'm going to paint this painting onto it, and I'm going to try it out on this stream. So you guys just keep letting me know in the chat how things are going with this new setup, because I don't know. But this is going to give you guys a really good understanding, at the very least, of how I break down paintings with black and white and how I put together my stuff. And I think that there's just something about working on canvas, and of course my love of Bob Ross, that is a fun way to work out your ideas and think about things. But I want this to be a lot of things happening at the same time. I want it to be a brutal, struggle painting like Wyeth did so well. I was looking at some of Wyeth's Western paintings and I was getting excited about that. And yeah, so that was my big plan for this painting. So we'll see how it goes. Man, I've got tons of stuff every which way. Where's everything? There we go. I'm gonna bring order back from the chaos, if I can actually. This hat's actually in one piece. Yeah, there we go. How's that? That's a little better. Get a hat on this kid. Oh my goodness gracious. But yeah, I mean, so this is what I'm doing with this painting, and this is, I'll walk you guys through it, is that, so the sequence is, this is the final struggle. Here's the sun over here, setting. Here is Van Helsing is going to be here, cradling Mina in his arms. And then here it is. There we go. See, it's me. I put the hat on and you recognize me now, Steven. Do you see what I'm talking about? And so we've got Quincy Morris, who, according to the novel, is, mortally wounded at this point, driving his Bowie knife right in to Dracula while also grabbing his hand and keeping him from defending himself. You've got Jonathan poised to decapitate him here. And then here, you're going to have... I haven't figured out exactly which character it is. Originally, it was going to be the Doctor. And I kind of am like, no, I don't think I want it to be the Doctor. So, ooh. Yeah, I think it's going to be, Mina's poor tragic love story of her fiancé. Because I think he has the rage to do what's happening right here. That was my idea anyway. Is that what I want to have happening here is I want to have him grabbing this person who is just, stabbed Quincy Morris. And of course I have it as a liver shot because that would be it. And that would make sense for not only showing the toughness of Quincy Morris, but also just the evil of the folks who are serving Dracula here. And so he's mortally wounded, but then he's basically pulling the knife and the guy out from Quincy Morris and then shooting him right in the head. So that's my plan right there, is he's going to have a revolver, and that's going to be just a brutal moment right there in the story. And then what I thought I would do with the Doctor here is I want to have the Doctor in frame, and I want him to be essentially having just wrestled this one of the what do you call it, Dracula's servants off of him, and killed him. He's trying to grab Dracula's other arm, because Dracula is described as having just this incredible strength for his age. They talk about that a lot in the novel. And I guess what all this is basically about for me, and what this has been, leading up to, is I want to be able to do more paintings where I show you real painting. Real painting. I'm going to be doing my illustrations. I'm doing all that stuff. And I don't mean these aren't going to be illustrations. But there's a type of thinking, excuse me, when you're working on canvas, where everything is loose and everything, you can just layer a lot more stuff on canvas. You can't really do that with paper. And that's a great question, Stephen. This canvas is... Let me double check. I want to make sure I get this right. Let's see here. It is 16 by 20. So this is a 16 by 20. By no means is it a large canvas, but it's a pretty decent size, and it's manageable if it's something you want to do on your desktop, which is what I'm kind of using this for. And so, if you know N.C. Wyatt's work, he's one of the most famous illustrators of all time, and if not the. And the thing about him is, his stuff was all about adventure. So he did Treasure Island, he did Last of the Mohicans, he did all of these incredible works. And he was very much, and even him and Howard Pyle and the Brandywine School, as past Master Dan knows, they were creating visions of adventure, visions of America, visions of the West. And that's what I'm interested in doing, because if we don't, we can't just tell people this is a good thing. We have to present something very compelling. And there's been so much work done, and sometimes just for artistic reasons or choices, but it's become a bit of a cliche, misrepresenting Dracula. And Dracula is too cool of a story for it to be, told wrong. And I was completely shocked. One of the last thing I was thinking, with all of this stuff going on in my mind, I had not done the sketch, I'd already done the sketch at that point. And this was last night. I'm sitting here listening to the introduction to Salem's Lot, and I'm like going, are you kidding me that he's saying exactly, like, I have to cite him in my Forget Everything You've Been Taught About Dracula. He's actually citing what I got out of the book, and why the book stands the test of time, and why it's something that when, young men and men of all ages, honestly, young men of all ages read it, they just think, oh my God, I want to go on an adventure. I want to find a group of, ride or die brothers to go take out evil with. It is such an awesome story. And that's also the thing that's crazy. So whatever one thinks, again, about authors, because in the age of Twitter, I can't imagine what people would be thinking of H.P. Lovecraft if he had access to Twitter. But actually, I'm pretty sure I know what they'd be thinking. But the thing is that to hear somebody who is at the very least does what we kind of think is important, which is he writes stuff that people want to read, and he's been doing it since the 70s. If we're going to look at it like that, the fact that he also sees this aspect of the novel says a lot, because I think that how is it that so many people look at Dracula and they miss the gothic adventure story, and instead they get fed this kind of cynical romanticizing of evil. And again, if that was what the book was about, then more power to you. But that's not what the book is about. And so it's kind of a strange thing to me, because they've taken all of the best bits. If Dracula was that character, you wouldn't need to take away all the best bits from all of the other characters in order to tell the story. And this right here, guys, in case you're wondering what my thought process is when I'm painting, and this is a big one for all of you aspiring painters. Hey, what's up, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969? This is probably going to be the most teachery painting stuff I do, is when I work on canvas. So if you have painting questions, feel free to fire away. If you have Dracula thoughts, feel free to post those comments in the chat. But this is exactly how I would do a demo for students, so I think we can kill two birds with one stone here, which is I can do a painting that you guys are going to have a fun time watching, hopefully, have a great conversation that we're so used to, and at the same time kind of extol the virtues of the Western canon and show the next generation a little bit more in terms of how to paint. You see that negative space right there? What I did right in there, which was always the plan, even in the sketch I did, which was a tiny thumbnail sketch where I was taking notes for Forget Everything You've Been Taught About Dracula. This may seem like a lot of nonsense, and it is, but this is the sketch of the painting you're seeing. And you see that little negative space right in there, that little triangle? That's the space I'm creating right now in the painting. That's how paintings come to you. Paintings don't come to you as elements, they come to you as compositions. And that's what this is. This is a composition. Hello to you, my friend. It's good to see you. And yes, indeed, hello, Comicsgate. Amen. And so as I'm working on this, and I really want to see this movie, but then I think, the reason why we have movies that look the way that they do is because people who were making movies in the early times would look to art and illustration. They'd look to N.C. Wyeth and Howard Pyle, and that's why Pirates of the Caribbean looks the way it does. The ride and the movie series, actually, it reference all of those old illustrations. Last of the Mohicans was influenced by the N.C. Wyeth Last of the Mohicans stuff. So, for me, Dracula as a monster, creature, folks, and I am one. I love creatures. I love monsters. That's what excites me. Yeah, Tammy D is here. Tammy, you better batten down the hatches, my friend. I'm a little worried about all my Floridians. You take care of yourselves, guys. But this is the thing that kind of gets me about it. I'm a monster kid myself. Graham Nolan and I are always talking about that when we're on streams. We are monster kids through and through. But you can have the monsters and the heroes too. You embrace the power of "and" is what my motto is. And so when I look at this stuff, I'm going, where is the visionary sort of, or vision, let's just say, of this Dracula I want to see? And honestly, who's responsible for putting that vision out there? And it's only me. That's what it is. That's what we have to do. We're artists. We don't, we create things. We make. We don't have to take stuff. We make stuff. And that's the thing. You guys don't, well, actually, it's all of our rights to, God-given rights to complain if we want to. But this is the thing of, this is the thing about it, right? Is that we can do something about it. We can fund projects. And again, Nosfero only has 15 more days left on the Indiegogo. This is the second 30 days, so we're wrapping up. So very important. So yeah, let me say, this is what my opinion is on non-traditional type art in comic books. What is my opinion of could you clarify that? And I, just so I know, do you mean non-traditional like pen and ink work, or do you mean yes? Oh yeah, I'm absolutely will cover all of the different interpretations. Yeah, happy to. At least all the ones I've seen. So do let me know what you mean by that in terms of non-traditional. Do you mean, because I think of traditional comic book artwork as being pen and ink, so and then colored, but maybe you mean something else. So let me know. Okay, so do you mean, I know, I'm sorry to say this, you're saying watercolor, painting, and acrylic. So what do I think about using those, do you mean? Here's my rule of thumb with it, and you're going to see this, this probably will have more of an impact on what I do going forward with my art. It really doesn't matter what I think about it. It's what the audience thinks about it. And if the audience doesn't, how do I put it? If the audience doesn't respond to Nosfero, and if I were to think, okay, well, it's, there's a lot of different things it could be, but it's like, is it worth the amount of time? That's all that really matters, because I really do believe in capitalism, and I really do believe in people voting with their wallets. From my experience, Nosfero is a pretty crazy story with pretty crazy artwork. I think that there's some people seem to like it. There's an appetite for it. But for me, I just want to see people reading comics, and I don't care how they're made, as long as they're made well. That really, honest to God, is how I feel about it. And I would love to see anything that gets more people reading comics. But it's strange, because I'm somebody who works in both digital and traditional. I just lean to traditional because I like to make original artwork. But it's, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, exactly. Everything, yeah, there's so much stuff. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Very cool. Yeah, I never know, honest to God, guys. I'm flying by, oh yeah, I like John. I have so much John J. Muth, well, as much as he's done. I have Mystery Play and then the hardcover Moonshadow. It's fantastic stuff. Yeah, you know what's weird is, my favorite quote of all time is, of course, that quote, the customer is always right in matters of taste, as opposed to, of course, the ridiculous, for anybody who's ever worked in sales, the customer is always right. But it is important to say the customer is always right in matters of taste. And I think that one of my favorite metrics for making my work and thinking about my work is I try to approach it and go, how do I make something that people are going to want to buy, that people are going to get excited, and that I'm capable of making? Let's be clear. That's an important one. Yeah. Order of the Stick, I think. I feel like I missed something there. 21 here and only 13. My goodness. Where does the time go? Craziness. Timmy Mello. All of you guys are changing your your profile pics. I'm going to have to relearn everybody. Timmy, it's great to see you, my friend. How are you doing on this fine Sunday? Channel member and rock star, much like Tammy. That's right. Love seeing you guys here. Thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Diesel Sweetie Scott. Yeah, newspaper circulation. Well, and by the way, yeah, there's a small element of that in Nosfero, and there's a small element of that in Dracula. But this is the thing that I think is missing, right? The thing, and I've got here, so just so you guys know, I can't show you my desktop because I think everything is going to crash at a certain point if I'm not careful. But when I look at my desktop, I've got all of these photographs of men from around 1890 in their formal dress and their portraits. So I have to kind of, take some leaps of faith with the slacks and figuring out all that stuff. But I've got all these pictures of these guys, and I'm really thinking about how do I put you into this space of that novel. I tend to think that if something works, there has to be something to it. You know what I mean? There has to be something to it. And whenever something is really really popular and people respond to it, rather than think of this is wrong, I go, what is it people are responding to here? Let me take a look at it. Jimmy Reyes, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? Drop a link to your campaign in the chat for me, brother. And so for me, I like to find out what people are interested in, to a point, and I like to figure out that stuff and then kind of go, okay, well, what is the appeal of this? What is it? So if someone were to say to me, why is Dracula, the vampire character, so much more popular than the heroes of the story, I would say because he's a vampire, because he's the monster. That's the same reason why H.R. Geiger's, or Giger, depending on how he pronounced it, I forget, his Alien is the most popular and central aspect of it. But without those, the characters that are driving the story, that monster doesn't have a lot to do. And we've seen that with all of the various sequels where you don't have a story there and you just have that particular monster. And now they're finding that there's, other ways to do that, including involving those new characters they created, the engineers. But that's the stuff that I think is really fascinating. So for Dracula, for me, I think we sort of have this feeling of, or at least at the moment, we have this feeling of wanting some adventure, wanting things to be a little less bleak, or I should say cynical. And so it's time for a reviving of the horror genre by strengthening it with heroes. Because let's not forget, the Universal movies were about the human characters and the heroes. You know what I mean? So were the Hammer horror movies for the most part. It's very difficult to center it the other way. Let me see here. Vlad and Isabella von Karnstein from Warhammer have some great lore. I don't doubt that. And yeah, Warhammer was big. Oh gosh, doctor wants me to get more exercise, so I'm going to take off to focus on that. Excellent, man. Well, listen, take care of your health. That's number one. That is absolutely number one. Tammy saying hi to Mark's Music Obsession. Now let me get to... Shoot, why did it just jump? A question I've been wanting to ask you for a while, Shanth. Have you read How Should We Then Live by Francis Schaeffer? I have not, but I know it. I haven't read it, but I'm aware of it. It's on my radar, but I don't know a ton about it. But yes, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I'll have to... Should I check it out? I'm guessing you would say yes. The villain tends to get the more shine than the hero because he's an obstacle to overcome. Absolutely. We remember him because of the process it took the protagonist to overcome and defeat him. Absolutely right. Yes, take care of yourself, Jimmy, says Mark's Music Obsession. Amen. Oops, sorry, let me just go back here before I get to you, Caleb. Timmy Mello, in Dracula's case, it was Dr. Van Helsing. Yes, indeed. Yep. Hail CG. Indeed. Hail CG, Caleb. Hi, Shanth. Hope the chat is having a wonderful day. We are, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, Caleb. yeah, I think that's part of it. And I also think that there's probably a little bit more, also another practical aspect of it, which is adventure stories are expensive to put on film. They're really expensive. And if you have to make a choice of, if you don't have a big budget, having the crypts of Dracula's castle, and then also having, interiors in New York with only a few exteriors with mist is the way that you're going to go. And I think they were just trying to get the most they could out of the cash they had. And what I think is so exciting about comics and illustration and painting is the fact that our budget is what we have the ability to paint. And so when you see me doing the stuff that I'm doing right now, there's no end to my budget. Like, I don't have to worry about paying extras or, hiring another cast member and trimming things down from that standpoint. I'm able to go, okay, well, so I'm going to have this guy here, and sort of rough their faces in as I go and figure out what this thing is going to be. And for me, I basically would rather try things that I think need to be attempted or done and fail at them than not. I think it's just better to try stuff and get it out there. I don't want to waste my life not going for it. And so the thing for me has been, and I've been, whining and moaning about why has this never happened in a movie. And it just has come to me recently that it's like the reason it hasn't happened in a movie is because you need artwork and you need examples to greenlight a new vision. You don't need new examples to greenlight an old vision, which is why we keep getting the same Dracula story again and again and again and again. And it's my responsibility as an artist, not only to do what I'm doing, as a part of Comicsgate and as a part of independent creators who are pro-liberty, hence my shirt, link in the description. But it's to tell stories that kind of uplift the Judeo-Christian Western canon, which is what all this stuff comes from. These are important elements of it. What is up, Big Boy Burgers? My God, I almost did make it through that, my tongue twister there. Shanth, this is Mark's Music Obsession. This is my second channel. Excellent, I see it. I had with my friend Keith, oh my gosh, who passed away, just subbed and liked to help. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Mark. And oh my gosh, rest in peace to your friend. Oh my gosh, rest in peace, Keith. Let me see here. It's a tour through art and pop culture. Oh my God, I'm going to love it. And postmodern philosophy's impact. There's also an old documentary series, probably on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to check that out, Crenshaw. That's happening. Comic artists have already devised a number of ways to break 2D limitations. They certainly have. Yeah, well, you know what, though? Maybe that's what my art books are on some level. I would make a gallery of things I've failed at, but it's that's what makes it fun. Is trying. I would rather try things. I really need to find that video on limitations provoking creativity. It's why Silent Hill for PS2 was based on Centralia with Centralia with fog everywhere, draw distance limitation. Yes. Well, yeah, the fog is the ultimate production value, bang for your buck. And that's the stuff that, it's a big part of everything I do, where I go, okay, I better make this thing breathtaking because otherwise it doesn't justify it being painted. And when it comes to illustrations, I go, I've got one shot to put something out there that someone's going to see and someone's going to react to, someone's going to respond to. So I'm like, this is Nosfero the Crypt. Oh, you can see the ring light reflection. Oh, wow, that's a trip. Sorry, this is my first time seeing it. This is Nosfero the Crypt Walker. It's a gothic pulp adventure story. It is just a dense story in 33 very richly painted pages with bonus material printed in America with beautiful paint. Like, that's my sales pitch. And Shanth Enjeti art, look for this. It means quality. That's basically what my pitch is. And it's the same thing with my art books. But I have to create something that is as transcendently beautiful as I can do within the comic format. And I want to bring traditional media to bear when I'm doing that. And I want to tell a story that's optimistic. I want to tell a story about heroes, but that also has brutality and sexiness and all of that important stuff. And when I think about this, I have a responsibility first and foremost. And by the way, I think responsibility is an awesome motivator. By the way, it's a tremendous motivator. I have a responsibility first and foremost to this. This dude right here. Bram Stoker. This is how I think what it's all about right here. This guy and his vision for this story. That's a really good question. Gosh, let me think about that. There was something I never forgot that I heard Ethan say that was really a big part of how Nosfero went and why Nosfero was able to be successfully completed from promoting, pitching, selling, and then getting it finished and all of that stuff, and then getting it out to people, was the fact that the story resolved. And he said, I see so many creators who have a massive idea for a story, and they get this page count locked in their head. And obviously you want to give people as much as you possibly can, and that can mean a lot of things. That's not just page count. That's story, that's content. And I mean, like, you want to give them plot developments, and you want to give them something that's cool. And he goes, but one of the things that has just crushes creators is when they come up with a page count they couldn't possibly do. And it would be better off if they set a page count that they actually could get done and got that done than coming up with a giant page count. And that leaves people, going, well, when is this damn thing coming out, right? For way too long. Now, people are going to ask when this damn thing is coming out no matter what. But if it's never coming out, because you can't possibly you personally cannot get the amount of pages that you've promised done, it's what's worse, having a epic project that never gets done, never sees the light of day, or a project that gets done. And I always believe it's a project that gets done. That's the most important thing. If you back one of my books, because I've now done it this is the fourth time, it's going to get done. And it's going to be beautiful. All that stuff's important. So I say the response to that should always be, well, how many pages do you think you can do? So here's the God's honest truth. I said I thought it would be just a struggle. And I didn't even know if I would be able to do it, but that was the whole point, was to see if I could do it, to get to 30 pages. And I thought, well, with bonus materials, I definitely can make a solid book, but all of my art books had always been 20 self-contained paintings. We're not even talking about sequential art. We're not talking about comics. And I said, so I'm going to say over 30 pages. Because if I say 45 pages, if I say this many pages and the thing doesn't get done, it's catastrophic. It's game over. And I'm thinking, I've never done a painted comic book before. Like, that's going to be, I've done comics, and I've done painted books, but I've never done a painted comic book before. So I said, I sure as heck better make sure that I get this thing, do something that's possible. And I know I would be powered by guilt to make sure I get this thing done. But it really is, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. And so when I got to the end of the book and I had, I think, 31 pages, I was like, this story needs a double page spread. It needs a really cool double page spread. And that just added it, so it went up to 33 pages. But I always say, start with what you can get done. Shadowhawk Talks, what's up, my friend? It's great to see you, and cheers to you, my friend. Cheers. Yeah, hey, it's Katie, coming soon to Florida. Yeah, there's lots of excitement going on. I didn't make it 45 minutes, Mark. Uh-oh, I have no idea what's happening. Oh, I fell asleep 45 minutes into Pizza Live. Well, that's okay, because it was the music, by the way. I got notified by YouTube. I got to figure it out. I've seen this artist, Rafael Arejo. I don't know how to pronounce that. Arejo? Oh, God, I can't do it. Twitter make this 2D into optical illusion illustration. Wow, of 3D with a pencil and a projector. His sketches are like peering into another dimension. That is so cool, man. Wow. I don't know how long the Watchmen graphic novel took. I know some of them have taken, of course, a ton of time. And hail, Katie, it's great to see you in the house. I hope everything is well where you are. Yeah, it's the funniest thing in the world because, and I've heard more than a few people talking about that, is that when it comes to works of art, I would rather, for me personally, I'll give you a really good example. One of the complaints I've been hearing from people about Salem's Lot, and I have not seen it yet, so this wouldn't be an informed opinion, was they felt like it was too rushed, and that it needed to be a longer story, and that they wish, you know, that it had been done as a TV movie because you couldn't get that much plot into, you know, such a short film. And so that's an instance, and the audience goes, you know, would say, I would wish that they would do this instead of rushing it out. It's tough. Whenever you rush something out, the hardest thing in the world is to resist the temptation to rush something out. The other hardest thing to resist is the temptation to give yourself infinite time. And there's this perfect zone in the middle. And for me, that zone is something that I've, you know, especially with independent projects that I've done that are all just me, I've learned to manage fairly well. But it's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun, brutal painting. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I don't know if you guys know that can tell, but there's the Hang In There Tiger painting that's behind me. It's an acrylic painting, and I used to do lots of acrylic paintings on canvas, but I haven't had a chance to do one in a while, and I've just been running like out of energy from not painting. You know, which sounds crazy because I know everybody's like, you paint all the time, but it's just a single painting with no interlocking parts and with no that's lived in your head for a very long time is something that just fills the soul up. You know, I scribble these clouds in with a small brush. You know, I'm like just scribbling these clouds in, you know, and on the canvas. And to me, pushing down on a canvas with a brush feels like you're drawing a bow back. You know what I mean? It's like you're pushing an arrow back. And it's like it's giving you this great resistance, or plucking a guitar string. It has that same kind of quality to me. And I don't know what it is, but as I was scribbling here, I saw a little bit of negative space. And I went, that's going to be a bat. Now, that's me taking a little bit of a leap from the novel, and you do have to do that a little bit. But I just kind of felt like, yeah, haptic feedback, 100% Simply Green. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And I was looking at this and I went, because that's what this needs to be. And then I had this scribble that was a leftover from the painting I had on here before, and it just created this weird arc, and I went, that's going to be the sunset. It's perfect for the sunset to be there. That's where it needs to be. That's what painting is about, and that's what I want to share with you guys about this process. What's up, JC? How are you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate you too. Very much so. But that's the thing, you know, it's we've got this ability to kind of make things happen and move things. And for if you're just joining us now, guys, the Second Chance campaign for Nosfero the Crypt Walker is almost to 12K. It's at 11,965. So if you haven't backed yet and you want to back that book, by all means do. It would be a great help to us. The more we get supported in every single way, so whether it's super chats, memberships, or whatever, it makes it more feasible for me to do the things that I'm doing. And I don't know, I've just been last night, my wife and I, because we're cheesy, my wife said we went down to this the water near where we live, and we were just looking at the stars, and I just was like, this is good stuff, man. This is good stuff. I like it. And I kind of want to bring as much beauty as I can while I've got, you know, air in my lungs to you guys. And every bit of support you guys give me makes it easy for me, or easier and possible for me to do it, let's say. No, I mean sunset. So the story of, the story of Dracula, they're, they know he's going to get more powerful once the sun sets. And so they actually defeat him at dusk. They defeat him at sunset. And I just think that's so cool, because you think of high noon, you think of the sunrise, and there's just something about, that's actually something visually that Coppola did well in his Dracula film. It's just he gave the beheading and the stabbing through the heart to Mina. Of course he did. And he didn't give those honors to Jonathan Harker and to Quincy, because the whole point of it is, and that gets me about it, is how do I put this? If you rescuing yourself is just called survival. You don't really rescue yourself by definition. We tend to warp things like, rescuing requires another person. And the thing that's kind of amazing, and we see this, and I don't want to get into too serious of a topic on it, but to be in severe peril like you see with the hurricane, right? And the things that have happened in North Carolina and all over the country, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. And to need to be rescued and then find that there are people who are committed to rescuing you is an overwhelming experience. It's probably one of the most powerful things we can do for other people. Whether it's, and it could be, sometimes it can be just, needing a stream, like you're so exhausted you can barely go on, you just need to laugh, or you need a little bit of inspiration. Yeah, it's called being self-sufficient. Absolutely right. You didn't need rescuing, right? If you were self-sufficient. That's a weird thing. Yeah, it dilutes the heroism of rescue if the victim saves themselves. Exactly. And Mina is going through enough. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, what's the point of everybody else if they didn't need to be there? And so it kind of, how do I put it? Every character in a very well-crafted work of fiction has their strength. Sherlock Holmes, without Watson, is not a story I want to read. Or without Lestrade, for that matter, isn't a story I want to read. It's strange. Or with Henry Baskerville, for that matter. So I think that's something that we're kind of losing, or we've lost, which is, I don't need anybody to save me. And then it's like, cool, well, do I have to hear about it? Because you're self-sufficient. But you do need people to hear about it, right? It's a weird sort of thing. And then there's another follow-up to that. I don't need somebody to save me. Someone could respond, well, nobody wants to. Mina is so valuable. Right here is where she's going to be. Mina is so valuable that all of these people risk death in a battle against, essentially, an agent of Satan to save her. Wow. I mean, imagine you're in a place of extreme peril. And I don't know, I felt this once I felt this a few times when I was in the emergency room. And there's 6 or 7 strangers who are trying to help me. And I'm in a bad way, like when my appendix ruptured. That stuff, that's big. Because you're thinking, I'm just one person. And you guys are all invested in this. And that's a powerful thing, man. Yes, exactly. 100%. It would be one long opium den around. Well, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, that's what he would be reduced to. And I don't know. I look at this stuff and I think, this is the stuff of fiction. This is what fiction needs to be. Fiction needs to be about us creating something that is ennobling, and us talking about the virtue of rescuing people. Because Dracula is after Mina to do to her what he did to Lucy. And that is not something that Mina wants. If Mina wants that, like, gosh, you guys have seen it. People are playing it like crazy. Is when you add the kind of seriousness onto it. It's the Mario and Luigi fight. What the heck are all of these people trying to rescue her for? If she loves Dracula and wants to be with him, what are they doing? Quincy died for this. She was totally not worth Quincy's life if she was like, yeah, I want to be evil. What? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It's a reminder of the presence of the collective will of God in man, which brings men together for the preservation of life. I'm doing okay reading today. And also, well, of course, but that is what, that word also used to imply. It was just a special descriptor, And I think that's something that's I find really affecting when it comes to the work that I read and the stuff that compels me, is that Mina is so important to the story. Mina's because Mina's lost she's lost her best friend. Her best friend mom was murdered by Dracula, by the vampires, and then she's going to be turned into a monster and a vampire that's going to murder people. She does not want to become this. If she does, then we've got kind of Twilight, don't we? And that's all fine and good. Twilight does a completely different story than what Dracula is attempting to do, but I would say it does it better by the way that it's designed. From design, it plays up that vampire romance thing. And that's not what Dracula is. If Dracula is that, then Twilight wouldn't need to exist, if that makes sense. It's a bit of a weird segue, but whatever. That's what we do here. Let's see here. Crenshaw FAO says, the life of Jean Valjean would have been very different if he had talked himself out of trouble for stealing the silverware. You've got it 100%. 100%. Yeah. How many times have we seen that in a story? That's big stuff. Cosette's life would have been very different, right? If he hadn't rescued her. Or if he had been able to completely successfully rescue Cosette's mother, whose name escapes me. I think it's... shoot, I can't think of her name. I think it starts with... What does it start with? An F? I think it starts with an F. Mike likes tacos, says, and he says this, I'm going to say this with a proper emphasis. Chill. Have some tacos. Agreed. 100%. Twilight turns both on their head, not just one. You're absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. Sup, Mike likes tacos. Who doesn't like tacos? God bless you, Mike. Oh my God. Tacos are just a staple. Certainly depending on where you're from. I mean, when I was growing up in Tennessee, tacos are just like, I don't know, Mexican food's like Italian food. I was kind of shocked when I came up here. And I was like, yeah, we have Italian food, although granted it's probably a little bit better up here. But I was surprised that people didn't see Mexican food as a staple and that there back in the day weren't any good Mexican restaurants up here. There are now, but it was... And especially, I should say also, especially Tex-Mex, which is a cultural thing. Any of you guys know that from Texas, I'm sure. But I mean, we're like, what do you do without tacos and Mexican food, man? Crazy. And New Mexican style sopapillas, man. New Mexico style sopapillas are just wonderful. Italian. I don't know if any of you guys like those, but I live for those. They're up there with funnel cake, folks. And I take that seriously. You know? That's what it is. Orale! There you go. Amen. Amen. Gosh, I tell you what, it always turns into food. No matter how many times we do this, it turns into food. What the heck? I'm painting a vampire being destroyed, the forces of good working against the forces of evil, and now I'm just thinking about tacos. I blame Mike. That's how that goes. And I should say, I give Mike credit. Because you're always doing better when you're thinking about tacos, folks. There we go. There we go. And I want people to take a look at when I'm working, right? And you see me just kind of a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, getting that viscosity down. Yes, you can use water as a media with heavy body acrylics. I've done far too many paintings where I do that have held up for now decades. And I tell people, I understand the logic of it, but it's not the same paint. You have to use some sense with it, but it's not nearly as precarious, and frankly, it saves you a lot of really tacky, sticky drying time and all that stuff. I cannot stand that. Once I figured out I could use heavy body acrylics and water changed the game for my work on canvas, man. Yeah, Dracula absolutely takes dirt nabs. Joseph, let me see if I get this right. Pantalone, is that right? Pantalone. Hope I got that right, and I apologize if I don't. Yeah, he's Dracula is cool. Guys, look. There are things that are popular, a lot of people like, that I don't like. Everybody's got that, hopefully. I mean, if you don't, great, actually. Why do I care? But everybody's got their things. But that doesn't mean that they're not great. So I will concede that whenever someone's like, oh, well, do you like this? I go, no, I don't really like it. And they go, what do you mean you don't like it? I said, I didn't say it wasn't good or it wasn't successful or whatever, that it wasn't competent. Just not my thing. I love hearing people say that. That's just a healthy respect for subjectivity when it is a truly subjective situation. I really believe in that. But when I hear people who are trying to sound serious saying things like Dracula is just a dull novel, I'm like, you haven't read it, or you shouldn't be talking about it, because that's weird. You know? That's just, it's, why would you want to do that? Or I should say, let me not use that word, because that's now becoming a very cliche word. It's a little bit narcissistic to think that your opinion of something great that's negative is something that should make you the center of something. I don't understand it. You know, to me, it sounds a little bit narcissistic. And when it comes to Dracula, if somebody says to me, you know, oh, I don't like the novel Dracula, one, I refuse to believe they've read it, because most people haven't read a book like Dracula. Or, you know, gosh, when people say to me they hate Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, I'm like, there's no way you've read that book, because that book, and I've read it, is horrendously long. It's crazy. Oh, okay. There you go. Katie, enjoy without me and get some goodies while you're there. Mark, there you go. 1 tier. Not following trends is trending. Exactly right. Yeah, I don't follow trends. Dracula takes dirt naps. Amen, amen. The Dracula story has stood the test of time. Exactly, and so is Frankenstein. You know, and it's a wild thing. Like, I've read Atlas Shrugged, but if somebody says, do you like it more than The Fountainhead, I would say, don't know, because I haven't read The Fountainhead. I'm sure I will at some point. I plan on it. But my introduction to Ayn Rand were Anthem and Atlas Shrugged. And that was, you gotta rest between meals, man. That's like having Christmas dinner after Thanksgiving. It's like, come on, man. Gotta take a break. But things like Frankenstein and Dracula, because there are so many audio versions of these books, abridged and unabridged, on YouTube, available for free. The fact that these great works of literature are not being, you know, read, and people are just taking people's word, like, it's a weird thing. I don't know about you guys, right, but this is something that I've been thinking a lot about with, you know, Nosfero, with horror, with all of this stuff, which is, people form opinions about things, like, they're comfortable forming opinions about things without having ever read or seen them. So they'll go, Dracula's boring, and I'm like, how would you know it's, I've never read Dracula because it's boring, and I think, how would you know you never read it? Like, it's just, you could say, I read Dracula and it's boring, or you could say, I don't care. I have no interest in reading Dracula. And you can't make me, because that's a great way to, that's true. I can't, and if you don't have any interest, why the heck should you? Really a strange thing. But for me, that book is just incredible, and I can't imagine somebody wanting to act in or make an adaptation of any of these works who has no respect or no regard for them. That just blows my mind. That's a weird thing. Now let's just get a nice little edge there. It's all about edge control, man. That's what all this stuff is about. You know, just roughing in those little bits, so I can get a nice edge there where I've got Van Helsing is going to be watching the action, holding Lucy, because Lucy's in extreme peril at this point, as the younger fellas get it done. And as Quincy gives the last full measure, which is really important to the story. One of the most important things to the story is the fact that Quincy gives the last full measure. You know, that's everything. And the book, to me, loses all of its impact if that's not the central focus and theme of the story. What's up, Comrade Sammy? It's great to see you. How are you doing? And you know, that's, for me anyway, it's a crazy thing, because Quincy is the American in this story, and he's referred to at the end, you know, that you know, he died, he gave his life, forever known as a gallant gentleman. And I thought, what a thing to have somebody say about you. God, how great would it be to have someone say about you, let me tell you about Shanth Enjeti. He was a gallant gentleman. My God. What a thing. You know, I mean, I don't know if there are any higher praise you could give a man than that. That's some brilliant stuff. Yeah. See, I mean, I look for things in the shape of what I see here. And I'm influenced by Frank Frazetta. I'm influenced by Basil Gogos. I love N.C. Wyeth. I love all of these guys. And Wyeth, when I'm doing this, is absolutely the big influence on this. Absolutely. But there are some gothic, eerie, and creepy paintings that Frazetta did that I would be a fool to, purge from my brain when I'm working on this stuff, because that stuff can't help but fight its way in. And just for those of you guys joining us, Nosfero, the Crypt Walker, my comic book, fully painted, has just got about 15 more, maybe even 14 more days now, for all I know. And it is available on Indiegogo. It's the first link in the description. We're only $45 away from 12K, guys. And thank you so much for your generous support. I do appreciate it. Hey, what's up, Cranberry Landers? It's good to see you. Hello, Shanth. I'm just stopping in to say hi. Well, we say hello to you, Cranberry Landers. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Wonderful Sunday, my friend. But, yeah, that's what it's about for me, is I would love to get the job of the illustrator back in the day, and probably very much true in comics to this day, is to get people to want to read the book. And when is the last time we had illustrations that made people not want to buy a book or collect a book of the artist's work, but want to read the story to see where that happens? And if Dracula is lacking in any kind of attention to the actual story, which is to say, lacking in the sense of people don't want to read or know the actual story of the adventure. It's like, how many paintings have you seen and how much artwork and illustration have you seen dedicated to showcasing the heroism of that story? And if you can't name any, like I had a hard time coming up with and finding any images that conveyed that, then it's time for us to make some new ones. That's what happened with Treasure Island. That's what happens with all of these stories. They succeed on the basis of the artwork that gets people excited in popular culture. Okay, all right, my friend. You take care, Cranberry Landers. It is great to see you, brother. Let me see. And yes, indeed, things are going well. Hey, Gaz, what's up? How you doing? Great to see you. Evening, Shanth and chat. Evening to you, my friend. I hope you're well. Let me see. Who else am I missing? Everybody saying hello, hello, hello. Past Master Dan. Good to see you guys, man. Great to have all of you guys here. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. And if you haven't checked it out yet, guys, only 15 to 14 more days, I think, left on Nosfero the Crypt Walker, my comic book, fully painted. And we are so close to 12K. If anybody in this chat backs it while we're on stream and flips it to 12K, do let me know. And I would be happy to celebrate with you guys. And that's really what's so great about this. I heard a Jordan Peterson quote. Like, for me right now, here's what we're doing. We're obviously celebrating our time together. We're celebrating the day. But I love this Halloween season. I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. And we're celebrating Bram. We're having a feast on art and story and on the season. And that's what makes it fun for me. That's what makes it great for us to do this kind of stuff. You know, it's like time with friends. It's the same thing with Pizza Live. Exact same thing. And I think that with, I think I said this when I posted that I had left the college I was working at. I said that, with hard work, determination, and God's good grace, things are going to work out. And I think that all the time. All the time, guys. And I don't think that the Western canon is lost until we stop putting it out there. Until we stop trying to support it. I don't know why in the heck kids spend so much time having to read illiterature, as I like to call it, like, Lord of the Flies, and, God, what are some of the other ones? Oh, my Lord, Catcher in the Rye, when they could be reading Dracula. They could be reading Shakespeare. Like, do we hate quality so much and the epic canonical works so much that we have to let these contemporary works hang alongside them that really are just, tributes to vice and narcissism and nihilism, for that matter, too, which is, around these parts we give no quarter. So that's something I've spent a lot of time thinking about. And then I go, well, what you have to do is stop going to the people who are in charge and who want these things to happen, and start going to the audience themselves. You don't have to be assigned Dracula to read it or listen to the audiobook. So what's going to make people read it when it's not assigned? Well, and that's frankly some of the best reading you ever do in life is not homework. And for me, the answer to that is show them some compelling artwork. I mean, for whatever people want to say about, how movies affect people's interest in reading the book. When my wife was teaching during, she's still teaching, but teaching during the time of the Lord of the Rings movies, she said so many of my students got into reading those Lord of the Rings books based on the movies. Here's a question I have for you guys in the chat. How many of you guys know somebody who got into reading Lord of the Rings because of the movies? Or did any of you guys get into reading the Lord of the Rings books because of the movies? I can absolutely imagine. It's the administration class. That's what it is. It's nuts. And yes, you're right. You're right. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. Having this, Gaz, having this a part of your country's cultural history, it's like to fumble the ball when you're teaching literature in the UK is like being born on third base and being unable to steal home. You know, you're on third base, steal home. It's right there. I mean, but then I say, forget the system. We got to go straight at it. We got to get it done. You know, Moromi, 6th grade. Wow, Michael Bancroft. I read the books after watching the first movie. There you go, Michael Bancroft, my brother from down under. It's good to see you, man. Yeah, the movies came first for me. I now have the books. See, it was required reading. Moromi says in the 6th grade. Now that's a cool class. Yeah, man, that's awesome. You guys see what I mean? These things needn't be at odds with each other. I know people who had a huge impact in their lives with the classic illustrated comics. You know, I mean, you never know. You never know what's going to affect people. You know, Stephen King was talking about how he didn't like those, but he has a tremendous amount of reverence for Dracula, and he made a connection that I never would have made. He goes, when he read Dracula when he was, I guess, 7 or 8 maybe, and he said when Lord of the Rings came out, he goes, all I saw, I thought it was totally inspired by Dracula when I was reading it. And he said Saruman is Dracula, Gandalf is Van Helsing, Frodo is Jonathan Harker. Like, he went down this whole list of like who the different characters were in his mind when he was reading it. And think about that. Think about how funny that is to think about the similarities between Dracula and Lord of the Rings. But, you know, that's a very solid point, that we don't think about it in the same light, and the heroism of it. And that's a series of books that has affected so many people. What an amazing history. What I was excited about, Gaz, if you're still with us, was the fact that some tech giants from our country, from the United States, are saving the Eagle and Child and going to preserve it. Knock on wood. And it's going to be reopened and not changed, which is great, because it was closing down after how many hundreds of years, that thing. Current academia is so reliant on complacent and illiterate student body. Yeah. And I think it's an emphasis on illiteracy, you know, like, which is to say illiterature, reading illiterature, which is what my new slang term is for it. Yeah, if people learn general critical thinking, they'd realize how insipid their professors are. Very true. Well, hey, listen, it's truth. Yeah, it is great. Isn't that great news, Gaz? I thought that was fantastic news, because I don't know when it'll happen, but I've always dreamed of going there. I've watched YouTube videos of people going there, and I was shocked. I was shocked. I'm like, this is a national landmark. This is a global landmark. You talk that it's like Western civilization landmark, and I mean that sincerely. It's like, you know, gosh, I'm trying to think of an equivalent. I don't know that we have a great equivalent here. And the idea that these authors played such a major role in inspiring culture, and not to mention their academic contributions, I was stunned, and it was wonderful to hear it would be preserved. And if it's preserved, or when it reopens, let me tell you something. If you are a Tolkien or Lord of the Rings fan, and you are looking to make a pilgrimage somewhere to like a central ground on which that fiction was born, for heaven's sake, do not miss an opportunity to go see The Eagle and Child, or The Bird and Baby, I guess as it was nicknamed as well. Do not miss that opportunity. You will regret it, because I was stunned when I heard that they were going to close it down. I mean, this is where so much of the stuff that, I'm a huge C.S. Lewis fan. Let me state that for the record. And I mean that in every way possible. I enjoy his fiction, but I really enjoy the examples he set as a man. He was an incredible man. A gallant gentleman, one might even say, to quote Bram Stoker in Dracula, describing Quincy Morris. But yeah, I mean, look at what we're going to do here. This is it. This is the defeat of Dracula. That's what we're roughing in here. And, it's weird because if there's a classic work of literature that is the biggest inspiration for Nosfero the Crypt Walker, it's Dracula, down to, the type, and the way I designed that was to kind of evoke the Dracula vibe, And it's to see us at the end of our second 30 days with 15 days left on this campaign. It's so exciting, man. It's so exciting that this book, is going to get a second edition, and that it's going to get an art edition because of all of you guys' support. But all the support you guys give makes it possible for us going forward. Every time we hit a milestone and we clear a milestone, it's not enough for us to just kind of cover it and break even. We can't go on if it's not growing and if it's not going somewhere. And so that's the trick. And that's the thing I need you guys for. I need your help getting out the word. I need your help making sure that people hear about it and backing it if you are so inclined, and if you would be so inclined. There we go. But I mean, look at the craziness, having the sunset right there. And that's just the happenstance of painting. I really do love this season of Halloween and spooky season, as I like to call it. I love the fall. Really just love the weather of the fall, to be honest. It's just great. Especially here in New England. It's incredibly beautiful. In Lovecraft country, it's magnificent. But I just want to create that sense of sweep and that sense of scope that's possible. Oh my gosh. What have we got here? A $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Let me see if I can put this on screen. There we go. I have such sights to show you with, Pinhead. That's amazing, man. Pinhead Bert. I love it. I have such sights to show you. Says, the 1978 Ralph Bakshi adaptation made me get the Lord of the Rings book. Got so hooked, I finished it in a week and a half. Wow. And that is the power of adaptation and art. If I could ever do anything that inspires someone to read literature with my work, like Dracula, and that's what the emphasis of this is, I would consider that outstanding. So of course, the policy on this channel is cheerleaders when you give a super chat. So this is for you, my friend. Charge! Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yes, indeed. So I was very influenced by my introduction to the Tolkien world was, of course, the Hobbit animation. And I even played in, I was one of 4 kids who got picked because it was a very long play. I got to play in the first part of the story. I got to play Bilbo in The Hobbit in my elementary school when I was in 5th grade, which is wild. I almost have never brought that up because I forget it because I didn't know what it was. But the cartoon I knew full well. And I used to try to draw the animation version of Smaug the Dragon because I thought it was the coolest looking thing in the world. I loved that. I love monsters. I love monsters so much. They're just great, man. So yeah, that was a wild thing. Okay, so I've got him here. Oh, how are things looking right now on the stream? Because I do know we had some issues with pixelating, but I think by using the ring light and the phone in this way, it's going to hold up. That's right. Let me see. I saw the Bakshi in theater as a kid. Wow, the Wraith Riders scared the yes out of me. Yes. Oh my gosh, those things are great. Those things are great. Yeah, I think there was a Ral Partha miniature back in the day of a Wraith that I saw advertised in a copy of, maybe it was White Dwarf magazine, and I used to want that thing because it looked so cool. I've always loved that kind of Grim Reaper sort of Wraith quality of character, and I want to definitely have one in my books for sure. Use a pipe? No, I did not, sadly. I did not use, well, not in the play anyway. Oh, past Master Dan, my misspent youth, my friend, my misspent youth. Craziness. Oh, my lord. Absolute insanity. Let's see what we have here. Okay, cool. So, I mean, this is the thing for me. So now what I'm going to do, excuse me, guys. My allergies are crazy. Yep. Yeah. In the library. That's right. Yeah. You guys are cracking me up. Yeah. I mean, it was, although I got to tell you though, that's another thing I miss about education. I love the old school buildings that actually were brick and stone, and I think that's part of the appeal of kids when they see the Harry Potter movies, another UK contribution to our culture. When they see the Harry Potter stories, and all kids all around the world go, I wish school looked like that. And I think there's something to be said for that. You know, I don't know that, I don't know if modern architecture is necessarily the best means of inspiring the mind, to inspiring young minds. I think that there's something to be said for beautiful and inspiring places. You know, places to grab a cup of coffee, to smoke a pipe. Places like the Eagle and Child, to be honest. I think there's something to be said for that. There we go. Put that in there. Let me see here. Past Master Dan, you guys are having fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they've taken the art out of architecture. Yes, they have. Yeah, they've taken the craft out of it too, which is unfortunate, you know. Craft and attention to detail and attention to that kind of thing. Detail is not something that you put into your work that's extra. Detail is the full realization of the subject. And so I don't know why... well, I know why. I think the reason why detail has been downplayed is because so many people who are downplaying it are incapable of doing it. But detail is a very important aspect to our work. Pattern, rhythm, texture, form, the elements of design that you choose when you're doing your work. And I think it's important for us, as this generation of artists, to be thinking about... So let's go back to a question somebody asked me earlier about, and if it was you, let me know in the chat, because my brain is pudding right now. Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? Barb Rogers, my goodness. Thank you so much, Barb Rogers. Where is it? Here we go. Barb Rogers gifted, Barb Rogers, Miss Solar Terror, gifted 1 Shanth Enjeti Art membership. Thank you so much, Barb. I appreciate you. I'm sending a cheerleader your way, and that went straight to Michael Bancroft. He jumped on that. Here you go, and thank you so much, Barb. Charge! I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and welcome, Barb, and I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. When the novel of this story, getting to read Mina's letters and all of the various characters, but I've always had a soft spot for, you know, the character of Quincy Morris, because Quincy's like the best friend a fella could have, you know. He's the guy who's like where they're like, we need more blood for Lucy. They're doing transfusions of Lucy. Apparently everybody was a universal donor in that book, but that's neither here nor there. What a coincidence. And he said, and Quincy's like going, what do you need? Just tell me what to do, where to stand, and I'll do it. And he takes that all the way down to, we got to kill Dracula? Just tell me where to stand, where to go, and I'll put my knife in him. That's Quincy Morris. Quincy is the man. You know, Quincy is the man. And I'd love to see him celebrated more in stories. There you go. I got one over past Master Dan. Oh no. Oh no. Giftcroft. That's right. Thanks, Barb, says Michael Bancroft. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hello, my dear.
So sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Did you take my
Charge cable? I sure did.
Where would it be?
It's going into my phone. Would you like it? It's fine. I have enough charge.
You're in the middle of streaming.
Well, I have my charge cable upstairs if you want to grab it.
Oh, so it's just laziness then.
It's a little bit of laziness.
Okay.
Can you tell people to back Nosfero while you're in here and tell them say hi?
Back Nosfero so we can afford more charging cables.
That's right. And could you also say hi, Comicsgate?
Hi, Comicsgate.
Look at that. Mrs. Enjetti saying hello. There is a lot of hellos for you. Look at that. Legend. Legend. She just says we need more charging cables. That's the whole motive for backing Nosfero. And she does say hi, Comicsgate, so never get it twisted, folks. I know everybody knows that, but, you know, it's nice to hear every now and again, isn't it? Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, I mean, it's Quincy is your ride or die brother in a crisis. You know, that's everybody's saying hello to you, dear. Hello. She says hello back, guys. You're very loved. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, that's I gotta tell you, I appreciate you guys. That's always nice for our significant others and partners to see. You know, it does mean a lot. They support what we do, and yeah, love that lady. There it is. Let me see here. But yeah, I mean, I love the character of Quincy Morris, and I really, gosh, I did something that I haven't been doing enough lately, and not for a while. I haven't been doing for a while, which is I'm one of those guys who, like, I love Halloween and I love spooky season, but I always come up with a reason where I'm like, I'm busy, and I go, oh, well, you know, I'll get to that. I'll watch some scary movies. I'll get into the spirit. I'll decorate the house. And then just time gets away from me. And then I get to the other side of it, and I'm going, and I wish I had done more to celebrate it. So yesterday, you know, in the last couple of days, Lauren and I have been watching horror movies and just fun horror movies and fun scary movies, and it's been a blast. Yeah, Cable Thief, says Crenshaw. Agreed. There's never enough charging cables. I know, guys, you're right. Happy Sunday to Mrs. E. Thank you guys so much. Yes, indeed. Everybody is saying hello. Hello to you. Hail, Mrs. E. Hail, Mrs. S. Let's see. Hello, Miss Shanth. Mrs. Shanth. Absolutely. You guys are the best, man. Behind every great man, etc. It's true, though. You're right. It is true. You're right. It is true. And it's yeah, I love these characters, and I love this world. And how can I put together something? I have so much junk on my desk. Oh, did I just bump the phone and flip it over? Oh, what a trip. Look at that, guys. Cool. So I have my camera set so that it was flipped over because the gyro hadn't done flipped it. So now let me see if I can. Is that the right one? Hold on a second. Oh, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Hang on a second. Let's go here, go there, and now let me rotate. There we go. Now we're back. That was a little bit weird. Yeah, that was trippy. I agree. In case anybody's wondering, your house didn't flip upside down, you're fine. Everything is going to be okay. At least I think so. But yeah, Quincy's the man. Quincy's our man in Amsterdam. Getting it done. And love this character, and I love this character, but I love these guys as a team. You know, they're so much of a team. It's not like I don't know how to describe it. It's not like you could sum them up as just being, you know, one type of thing. They kind of cover a lot of ground between all of them. Let me do this, actually. Hang on a second, guys. Hold on one second here. Let me see. All right, hang on a second here. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to grab some paint. Keep the painting company. Huh? No, I'm good, baby. Thank you. I just have to grab some paint tubes. All right, hopefully I can get into this chair without falling down. Oh, there we go. Very psychedelic painting. Oh, is it buffering? Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it's buffering. Okay. Let me see. Okay, we'll get it sorted. We'll get it sorted, guys. Don't you worry. All right, so here we go. So let me get this sorted out. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to start introducing some color into this because, yeah. Got to run. Take care, Shadowhawk Talks. It's great to see you, my friend. Let me see here. I didn't know you left, said Mark's Music Obsession. Guys, cracked me up, man. So here we go. It's time to start introducing a little bit of color into this thing, and of course, the most important color for this story. I'm not intentionally trying to use the Anders Zorn palette here, which is a very limited palette of black, white, red, and yellow ochre, I think it is. But I do have to include the color red. And one of the big things I wanted to do with this was show during the battle where Quincy Morris was stabbed, which for me would have been his side, and also the death of the person who did it. And they're holding on to their bloody knife. And so I wanted to show this person who stabbed Quincy getting taken out by one of Quincy's friends, because if this story's about nothing else, it's about brotherhood and friendship, that's for sure. It's about a lot of other stuff in terms of darkness and, you know, but it really is about, you got a bunch of guys who have at various points lost something, and none of them have a dog in the fight of the Mina Harker rescue outside of the fact that she's a friend of theirs' fiance. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. By the way, if there's a better color than cadmium red for its power, then I don't know what that is. It's just a great color. And I tend to mix, you know, those colors in to everything because, you know, you're going to make the ear of a character very red. You're going to make, you know, the flesh tone of your characters, although he's going to be getting paler because he's losing blood, but certainly in his hands. But I want to make sure that I'm showing off the cold as I rough in where that is. Rough in a little bit of the flesh color into his hand where he's plunging the Bowie knife in, and then the same thing goes with Jonathan, who's going to be a little bit redder. He's going to be up here. And I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I want to give them gloves because I just don't want it to risk it becoming just too, gosh, what's the word? Too stale. You know, I don't want all these folks wearing wearing too much gear to the extent that, you know, obviously they're in the snow and it's you know, a wintry battle scene. But I just want to keep it so that you get a sense that they're cold, you know, as all this is going on. Arthur, that's who I was thinking about. So yeah, so right here, this is Arthur. And Arthur has lost so much in this story up to this point. Arthur watched his fiancée waste away from this disease of vampirism. And then he eventually saw her transformed into one, and he had to deliver the death blow, which is freaking terrible. So in a lot of ways, rescuing Mina is a bit like his second chance at saving his fiancée who he lost. Like, to him, it's like, you don't get to do this again. I'm going to hunt you down and kill you because you killed the love of my life. And what's even scarier or more amazing is his friends are the people that she turned down, and they were friends before. So they're all like, as gentlemen, they're like, well, fair enough, you've won. And then they have to watch someone they all loved die, which is horrible. I mean, it is a really rough story. So when I got to the point where I was trying to figure out what Arthur would be doing in this painting, you know, what I wanted to do with him, I needed Arthur to just be just to be demonstrating and be personifying rage in this moment, because Arthur is so just aggrieved and angry, and he hates these people You know, he hates these people who, these awful, evil, foul beings who have invaded the sanctity of, you know, his life and his marriage and destroyed the woman he loves. And he is just like, he's fury incarnate. He just wants to frickin', you know, destroy all of these guys. And so I wanted to give him a particularly brutal act in this, and that is he's putting a gun to the head of one of these gypsy Romani gypsies who are the guardians of Frankenstein and his servants, and he's just point blank range, boom, you know, and he's grabbing someone off of Quincy, because you got to understand, you know, it's like there's friendly male rivalry and all of this stuff, but there's this aspect of, he knows Quincy has given blood, he knows what Quincy has been through, and that's this brotherhood, man, and he's just like, God, he's so angry, man. It's a powerful, I mean, I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but it's like, it's a powerful level of anger that, you know, it's hard to describe the things that kind of motivate people when they see just evil or an injustice and cruelty, that they just say, I can't let this exist anymore. This has got to go. We've got to follow this thing to the end of the earth and over the edge of the earth if we have to, because it has to be stopped. And that is what we're talking about with this story. I'm falling behind on the chat. Let me see what we've got here. Yeah, there are some definite real-life metaphors to dealing with loss and grief and tragedy here. 100% there are, Timmy Mello. Couldn't say it any better, brother. You've taken everything from me. I don't know who you are. Yes, indeed. Yep. He embraced his rage. Gaz, amen. A blood rage is a real thing. Michael Dietz. God bless you, sir. It's great to see you. Yeah, he did. And Gaz, you know, it's a fascinating thing, because in having the Lord of the Rings Dracula conversation, which is happening largely because of Stephen King making that parallel in the intro to Salem's Lot, it does strike me that even though it's a slightly different character, I believe it was Boromir, if I'm not mistaken, right, who is sort of seized by the ring, and you know, it just sort of consumes him, and he's sort of the first of our travelers to be lost, you know, the first of the fellowship to be lost in that sense. He's like the and it's tragic, you know, because he's a hero. He's a character who you think could not be fall, you know, he's somebody that you think is bigger than life and stronger than life, and that you wouldn't expect to fall. And when he falls, it shatters people. It just does. And Lucy is one of those pure, innocent, sort of flighty creatures who, in many ways, I wouldn't compare her to, oh my gosh, Katrina Van Tassel, in the sense of being a coquette and all of that kind of stuff. But she's got a little bit of that. But nobody on Earth who's a healthy or sane individual wanted to see her just waste away and die. That's a bridge way too far. And that's the thing about it. It's innocence. It's the innocence of youth being preyed upon. And we kind of, I think that's why this story is so important to understand as it exists, not as it's retold. Is that we don't want to let ourselves turn into and become vampires, preying on innocence, preying on the mistakes of others, preying on, you know, any of it, you know, and get sucked into that, because it's not okay. It's not like, you know, we saw a lot of this. I think we saw a lot of this in the 70s with, you know, folks like Ted Bundy and serial killers, and people would say, you know, girls, you got to be careful. You got to make sure, you know, you don't accept rides from strangers, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. But let's be honest. Nobody was saying that what was happening was justified based on a mistake. Based on a mistake of being young. That's a way too heavy of a price to pay for anything. It's evil. That is... Mistakes are not a justification for evil befalling you. And Lucy is... all of these people are, you know, put in a situation by the caprice of the fates, and they make decisions as noble, heroic human beings. And I think this book is so worthy of our admiration. I thought, you know what's so funny? I think about that painting every day. I'm not kidding, Doc Brewski. Whether you were kidding or not, I think about that painting or the many incarnations of it. But Washington crossing the Delaware is one of the most iconic American images. If I ever had the ability or the chutzpah to do that, I would do a painting of that. I would do a painting for my house of that. Love that painting. And Doc, welcome. It's great to see you. Hey, Doc Brewski says Mark's Music Obsession, Mr. Monkey Boy, 1969. I thought it was Abe Lincoln, Vampire Slayer. Oh, well, that would be awesome too, though. Yeah, I mean, guys, think about that too, right? We, the look on one of my favorite bits of acting was Chingachgook in Last of the Mohicans, played by Russell Means. The look on his face when his son is killed, Uncas is killed, and he's like, goes after Magua. It is like, you're like, that is a dad on a mission. That's over. You killed his boy. Heaven help you. And that sequence has always got me, man. Even before I was a father, that sequence got me. It's like, holy cow. Yeah, I love that movie. That movie is great. And it was more inspired by the movie than the novel, but I actually like the novel too. The novel's got some great nuance in it. So sorry, Mark Twain. I do love Last of the Mohicans. With all due respect. But yeah, I mean, that's the stuff. And I want to have Quincy's hat kind of coming loose too as well as it falls back. That's something that I was really interested in doing. And just having lots of nice little details on his clothing once I get to that point. But yeah, he's doing the job here. He's taken out this foul, evil beast. And I love that idea. And, again, I'm a painter of monsters. Like, I do enjoy painting monsters. It's a great thing in terms of our history of narrative and everything like that. I'd love to paint Grendel or Beowulf. I don't have a take on it. And I don't have a connection with it yet. I love it, but I don't feel that art connection with it. But this story, I absolutely do. This is a story I really do feel the connection. A death figure stalking youth and beauty is a resonant, powerful theme. It's the idea behind the slasher dead teenager movies. You're right, 100%. Yep. I know, I will. I'm going to give it a shot at one point, Mark, I promise. But you're right, Michael Dietsch. It's an essential thing for us to understand why youth and vitality are of value and they're important to defend, because Dracula is not just snatching away one life. He's snatching away the future for humanity, the children that Arthur and Lucy would have had. Frankly, the family that Quincy might have had he lived, had he not been killed. But they're not just dying for themselves. And stop me if you've heard this one, they're dying for the future of humanity, because they know that these things and their spawn will continue to prey and prey and prey on humanity until they are dealt with. And so they go, we're the people who are going to risk our own futures, just like the folks who fought for liberty and freedom in this country and around the world. We're going to risk our future and our many years that we might have had together, to frankly go out and look at the stars and go out and enjoy all of these aspects of life for the sake of future generations. And when you think, that to me is one of the big definitions of a hero. It's when you do things for future generations, not in the abstract, but in the now. When you do things to assist future generations when they're young now, not to go, well, I need to stifle the life and vitality of the younger generation in a twisted and ideological way, so that some abstract future is better. Particularly if you're starting with the idea that the world would be better without people in it, which is exactly what I think someone like Dracula would have an easy time arguing. And that's not what it's about. It's not what that stuff is about. It's not what this story's about. It's about a future that is very for people and promoting the life of human beings. Let me see here. Make sure I get this. Later, work beckons. All right, take care, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969. You take care, brother. So yeah, I mean that's a big factor for me. That's a big factor for me when I'm working is the stories that are inspirational to me, and I've always thought that the idea of rescue. Dracula is so good. Can I just say that one more time? Dracula is so good. If you are, I know we've got a lot of fans and folks in the UK. If you have the opportunity or the means to go to a location of your choosing to honor and celebrate in some way, I will try to do this before my time on this planet is done. To pay homage to or homage to Bram Stoker. Do not miss that opportunity. There's so many places you could go, so many places that inspired his work, but this book is a 100% a canonical work, and it is such a great book. Anybody who has some time during, particularly if this holiday season is something you're looking to celebrate, to take a look at this story and listen to the audio book. I mean, you can find Christopher Lee, another British treasure, funny enough, that ties Dracula. What's going on with this Lord of the Rings Dracula thing today? Anybody in the chat have an idea? Because I feel like there's a lot of strange connections sometimes when we get on these streams that we don't plan ahead of time. But it's Christopher Lee reading Dracula is one of those amazing treats. And if you haven't had the pleasure, it's always somewhere on YouTube, which is wild. Have a little bit of contrast on his coat back there because he's putting his shoulder into that because he's driving his knife into the heart of evil, into the heart of darkness, and that's what you gotta want to capture in a painting like this. You want to be able to capture that, and that's what I'm always after when I'm roughing these paintings in and just getting the composition. Yeah, stabby, that's right, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the power of synchronicity is strong today, 100%. Yeah, I've listening to him read Edgar Allan Poe is incredible. Love listening to him read Edgar Allan Poe. That dude, and we just lost Maggie Smith as well. I should point that out as well. They broke the mold when they made those folks, man. They broke the mold. All I can say to give me, the comfort when it comes to Christopher Lee is that he is with his two buddies right now in the afterlife, and they're having fun. He's with Vincent and he's with Peter right now, and that's what I always try to remind myself of. But what an amazing man! Absolutely incredible. But I need to make this, I think, when I get to the castle. I really want to play up the ruins, and I might get even more reference and research for it. Because, I'm always going to get more reference and research. That's why these things are so meticulous. That's why Nosfero was so meticulous to create. It's a meticulous process to create it. It's because I'm really trying to, it's created by hand. It's not using, anything that's ready-made or any of that stuff. Not at all. There we go. Now I'm starting to feel like I'm seeing this painting come together. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you haven't hit the like yet, do make sure you do. That stuff really does help, this whole crazy adventure we're on. I've got three books in... Actually, well, in terms of Shanth Enjeti art, I've got 3 books and a new edition that's available right now of Nosfero, but I've got the art books 1 and 2, and there's only 3 of those left, guys. The big tier on my campaign, which is incredible. Thank you, guys. I am always grateful for your support, but it is humbling. It's always humbling. Man. But yeah, that stuff is going well, so I've got... art books 1 and 2 they'll be not available anymore after this because those are the last bits of art book 2 are on this campaign. So when I did art book 1, that was available. And then I did art book 2, and that was the first time it was available. Then I did Nosfero's initial campaign, and art book 2 was available. And I started realizing, well, I printed less of those. And now we're on the second edition or second campaign for Nosfero, and there's 3 left, man. Oh, Mark, I cannot wait to get you that. You're gonna love that stuff. Absolutely. Michael Deitch says Christopher Lee was a man of action as well as as an artistic man. I think that brought authenticity to his acting, something you can't fake it. Michael, you're absolutely right. And I was thinking about Jack Kirby, frankly, the other day. I was actually could it have been this morning? I think it was this morning. I was talking to one of my brothers on the West Coast, and the subject of Jack Kirby came up, and I said, I mean, think about that guy's life, and I said he was such an incredible guy, and had gone into war and done all of these things, and he brought it to his fight scenes, and he brought it to that drama to his stuff. And Christopher Lee was just, I mean, he had a presence that you cannot fake. I mean, he could do anything, in terms of, like, you could give him anything. Even some of the accents that he does are incredible when he's doing that audiobook. I was like, what the heck? I mean, I think he spoke fluent German, and he spoke a few other languages, if I'm not mistaken. He was outstanding, man. Christopher Lee was the real deal. There we go. And sometimes you just got to put those little impressionistic marks in when you're at the sketch layout phase. You want to just let that stuff happen where you can. And for me, that's a big part of what I do, is trying to. It's always tough to get that angle as perfect as you want to get it, because you like, however you tip it, it's going to be a little bit different with the light. But I do think that what this ring light is doing is effective at mitigating. And the camera phone is definitely picking up much more of the detail than I typically get on a canvas painting stream. So this could absolutely be something that's working here, which is nice to see. Yeah, there we go. Had no idea how this was going to go. Had no idea how this tech was going to go. I ordered this stuff yesterday because I said, this is a thing about YouTube as well, and doing streams like this, is that you want to have stuff that you get excited about when you go to stream, in terms of where it's not so difficult. And I had a camera rig, a lighting rig, my microphone over here, and all this stuff. And it was just starting to feel like I was getting buried in technology every single time I went to stream. And none of it was working as well as I wanted it to, because I want things to improve. I want the stuff I do on this channel to improve. And seeing those the possibilities of this was just so exciting last night. I go, I got to try a stream and see if it works. Yeah, Lee was volunteering behind the lines, fighting Nazis early on. Acting was something he did later just because he could. You're darn right. And just he has such incredible stature as well. I mean, it's like, yes, the guy was a gallant gentleman. How's that? I think that he was worthy of the descriptor, even though he played Dracula. He was worthy of the descriptor that was bestowed on Quincy Morris, without a doubt. Without a doubt, a gallant gentleman. Let's see if this works. Yeah, one of the things I came up with when I was doing the sketch for this painting, and I thought, oh, that's going to work out great, was I wanted Quincy to be with his boot standing on Dracula's cape. I wanted Dracula to have kind of like a cape or a cloak, and so it was almost like Quincy, because Quincy is a Texan, and he's been in some brawls, even though he's wealthy, he's a very successful man. I wanted there to be something that would show his savvy as a fighter, that he was reading the situation, and he was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get this guy, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to trap him so that, yeah, I can't get away from him, but he can't get away from me. And I love that idea. I love to think about the staging of these things. And I wanted that moment where it was a 1-2 punch and you were seeing it at its best, which is Quincy stabbing the knife into Dracula. Dracula kind of, just stunned as Quincy's got one of his hands, pinned. And then Jonathan is like right behind, ready to strike. It's like a 1-2 punch, and they're in this situation to where they don't know if the other person is going to get their bit done, but so they're just both swinging for the fences, And it's not like it's a coordinated thing, but it's just a fortunate thing that this heroism and this determination presented itself at this moment to make this happen. And that's the stuff that I just think, oh man, that's the stuff of fiction, isn't it? That's the stuff of fiction. So yeah, I love doing this kind of stuff. I love making work about, some of these incredible works in the Western canon. And, just think about Jonathan in a lot of ways. Maybe it's a little bit more real for Jonathan, because if he succeeds, his beloved Mina and him are reunited. And that's a beautiful thing, for him. But these guys, and I'm not saying there isn't a bit of revenge in Jonathan, but he has an immediacy to what he's dealing with, because this is his future he's trying to protect. Whereas these guys are trying to actually protect other people's future while seeking revenge for Lucy. And that is just craziness. Yep. Fighting spirit, as my mama would say. Indeed, indeed. Yep. Fighting spirit is important. And, again, I always think of those quotes, right? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. I think about that stuff all the time. And, to think about Mina pale and with the burn mark of the host, on her forehead, and, just them trying to rescue her. And then that moment in the book when evil is defeated, where, all of a sudden that burn mark disappears, and that's the last thing that Quincy sees and remarks on. And he said, "It was worth the doing. Look, it was worth it to die, it was worth my death to see this, to see good triumph over evil, and to see that mark removed from her forehead and it restored back to what it was before." And so I want to put Mina in here, contrasty, so she shows up, but also pale, so it shows like how fragile of a state she's in. Those are all really important factors for me. And I don't know who I'm going to use for Van Helsing in terms of, or what kind of, I'm going to obviously use the book as a source, but I just want to capture every character with a little something in them. Something, just a little bit of some richness to them, but yeah, God, it's going to come down, like every character is going to have their shocked kind of or intense eye expression. But man, yeah, still live just for at least a little bit longer, Emo, because I'm in this painting, man. I'm in the mood for this painting. It's just I was painting on a painting last night till late, and solving a problem with it that was bothering the crap out of me and has been for a long time. And I just started working on this before I went to bed. And but I want this to just capture to me that's probably one of the most important side characters of this, because it really is Dracula and Quincy's painting, to be fair, but the Arthur aspect of this is really important. And just getting Arthur's wide-eyed rage is going to be fun to do. Just to make some notes for myself there. Sometimes I like to rough in expressions, even if it's not realist at all. Like, even if there's no reality to it, it's just kind of, cartooned in its initial phases. But for me, I just really want to capture that fury that Arthur feels of just, his Lucy. His fair and beautiful Lucy taken from him. There we go. Look at him go. These guys are in it. just roughing in those squares and roughing in those forms, you know, it's a different sort of process, you know. It's just, oh, that felt good. It's yeah, I don't know how to describe, you know, the whole painting thing. I probably, because I never thought I'd be a painter. I mean, I thought I was going to be a pen and ink, you know, comic book artist when I was a kid, and I never really saw this as where it was going to go. But that's just how it works with art. You know, sometimes you find out that there the universe has other plans, and that's really what I think, you know. And so yeah, I'm just gonna have, like, I was looking at some Wyeth, this Wyeth painting called Gunfight, and it really inspired me on this, which is to sort of have like and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna show it, but to have the revolver going off when taking down this the guy who stabbed Quincy right there. That's gonna be really fun to do. Cannot wait, you know. Cannot wait to, like, it's so fun. Like, I think I'm in one of the best Halloween moods that I've been in a while, because usually it's tough for me, you know, like, to just kind of like keep track of everything that I've got going on, and then just leave a little bit of room for relaxation and fun. But I'm getting better at it as time goes on. And I also realize it's kind of important for all of us to have these kinds of moments in time together, you know, to just sort of enjoy hanging out. This right here isn't going to be this color, but I want a little bit of an underpainting on it. Just a little bit of an underpainting. Because I'm probably going to make this a cool color. I might even make it a greener color, because I want that red to pop. Now, the trick with this is that Dracula is supposed to turn to dust after he gets killed, a little bit like Christopher Lee did, actually. I've got to figure out how I'm going to show that, because I do think there should be some blood going on there. So I got to figure that one out. But there will definitely be blood there, because it won't make any sense otherwise. All right, let me keep up with the chat here. Everybody's saying hello, emo trash. Tell him it can wait. He's getting caffeinated. Yeah, sometimes you got to get caffeinated a little bit, you know? That's important. Just kind of let that, because I want to keep that caved in sort of quality I had there, where the chest is sort of pushed back because he's arching his spine to kind of get away from the knife. And failing, which is also important. There we go. Oh, this is fun. You just get a little bit of, just for my own enjoyment. Have to show just a little bit of the consequences there. There we go. Yeah, I just love rolling the brush around like that and just building stuff out. It's always been fun. Go in and put that angle of the arm back in. There we go. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun costume to do. If I do something that's kind of Wyeth-y with it, I might just do some of the stuff that Wyeth was doing with that portrait he did of Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I don't know if any of you guys know the painting I'm talking about, but he had him in a pretty crazy robe, and I think that could be fun to do. But Dracula's goose is cooked here. That's all I can tell you. That's the fun part of it. I gotta crack my back here. Couldn't get it. Oh well. We tried. Sometimes you just gotta try. Oh my goodness gracious. So how is everybody doing, by the way? Anybody doing anything exciting for Halloween? At the moment, do let me know. I always love to hear it. I've been watching this great channel about a guy who goes to Salem, Massachusetts, and it's gosh, I think I had his link in the chat before. Derek, and I'm blanking on his name. But he's just a great guy, and he takes people around there and takes people around Salem, but it's so fun. Let's see here. Barb Rogers, Solar Terror, Kraken! That's absolutely right. Herc! Dracula, probably. That's the sound, right? That's the sound it's got to be. My parents are home this year for Halloween, so no. Oh, I'm sorry to hear it, or happy to hear it. It's tough to say. It depends on whether that's more fun or not. I know that I've always had more fun for Halloween when my kids are around, because they're just great. They're really fun. But it's whatever they do, I know it's going to be fun. But we have so many cool things here to do. It's great because it's New England. It's the capital of spooky season, and also it's Lovecraft country. Oh my goodness gracious! All right. Let's see here. What do I want? See, I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to have to figure out the fabric a little bit on some of these costumes. I'm going to have to figure out the fabric on Dracula a little bit. Let me see what... I've just now started testing this camera out, so I actually don't know what it does. Let me see. Does this work? What's it gonna do? Because that's like an optical zoom in the software, so I'm kind of wondering if the resolution holds up. No, it looks like it gets pixelated, so that's interesting. So if I zoomed on the camera, that would do something else, but I'm just curious. So I've got that guy right there. I mean, seriously, guys, I've learned so much about broadcasting and streaming since I started all of this stuff. It blows my mind. I never would have thought that when I was younger that my future would involve, and that the future would involve me being able to broadcast stuff and having to learn all the software for it. When I graduated from college, I was very computer illiterate. I was not very savvy at all. I had never sent an email before I graduated college. So that was it was a steep learning curve. Very steep learning curve. And so, just to give you guys a sense of like how I got to where I'm at right now, or today, last night I was sitting here looking at my camera setup. I tried pairing stuff with my cell phone. I said, okay, that works pretty well. And then I was looking at ways to do it, and Amazon was like, had this ring light camera mount that said they could get it to me for today. And I go, okay, I'll get that tomorrow, and then I'll stream and figure it out. And here we are. That's how fast stuff moves. How fast you have to move, I guess, in the space. It's just the way it is. Drawing Old Man Shanth. How do these doohickeys work? Honest to God, that's not far off, Stephen. That's not far off at all. Last year, they just so happened to be in Texas visiting my sister and her kids, and Grandma. So Grandma got away with passing out candy, and me and my boyfriend carved pumpkins. There it is. That's right. Oh, let me see here. What do we got here? I'm going to carve a pumpkin for Halloween. Absolutely excellent. Other than that, I got no plans. There you have it. Let's see here. Yeah, I know. I think it's important to have plans for Halloween, For me. I'm not putting pressure on anybody about that, but I do think for me it's really important to do things every day, because if I get to the day itself, and I do love Halloween, but whenever I get to the day, I always feel like I don't know what to do. Like I remember I promised you guys in the chat, some of you guys might remember this from last year or the year before, I had always told my son we were going to go to a haunted house, some crazy haunted house that we have here in my neck of the woods, actually over the border in Massachusetts, and somehow I made it through his entire childhood without having really had a chance, because it was a little too scary at first, and then all the lockdown stuff happened, and we got to that year, and I said to the chat, I go, I am not going to miss this year. I'm taking him. And so I took him. We had a great time, and it was so fun. So shout out to my little buddy, wherever he is. I miss him like crazy, and hope he's going to have him batten down the hatches for all the excitement that's coming to the state. Tell you what, Florida is just getting hit with a lot of stuff. Man, I tell you what, not to mention North Carolina. There we go. And so again, you can see me kind of just go in with the paint. When you're truly painting, and it's different than when I'm illustrating and draw painting entirely, because this is just for me, and you know, this is something that will probably go somewhere, because all the stuff, my art books were just for me, and that went so it's just nuts. You never know, but I just kind of get to be in a space where I'm just enjoying the paint process, and I can really give you guys a glimpse into what my thought process is when I'm typically working. So I'm basically just reasserting that silhouette, because this is the most important part of the painting, is the negative form between these two characters. It tells you everything that you need to know about the story, about, you know, this is the point of it, no pun intended. And just him driving that knife, and Dracula failing in his attempts to ward off that death blow that's coming right in to his chest, right there, right into his heart. And of course he's completely unaware, as a result of this, of Jonathan Harker's blade coming in to decapitate him. There we go. And now you can start to see how that comes together. Good old Quincy Morris getting it done. Hey, what's up? How are you doing, my friend? It's Shanthtober. Yes, it is. Thank you, Immoral Fat at 40 ounce. I appreciate it, my friend. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, you never know. You never know. I tell you what, I might be streaming. Might be streaming indeed. Yeah, I mean, this book is so, Dracula is such a great novel. And anybody, here's something I would say. If you are looking for something to do for Halloween this year, to check off your list if you haven't yet, listen to the Dracula audiobook, or pick up a copy of Dracula and read it. You will not be disappointed, and more importantly, you will have connected with one of the great works of fiction in the Judeo-Christian canonical, you know, corpus or whatever. It's incredible, and it's just an absolutely outstanding story. So great, so powerful. Bram Stoker is just, I mean, it's a weird thing when people look at artists like him, because he didn't have like a lot of Draculas. Nobody does. But man, I would rather have one Dracula than the entirety of Percy Shelley's body of work, to be honest. Or I'd rather have, you know, one Mary Shelley work be Frankenstein than have all of Percy's work. And I'm going to be doing a Forget Everything You've Been Taught About Mary Shelley and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because that's a video I need to make as well. There we go. See how this stuff comes together? I mean, that's everything for me right there. That's how, like, this is true for me anyway. This is true painting. This is everything that painting's got to be about. You know, just really, you know, getting that beautiful, that drama that's so important to work. Give him a little bit of red inside the ear. One of the big secrets is wherever the skin or the anatomy gets thinner, is to drop some red in there. So make the hands redder than they look, or than you think they are when you're painting. Make the feet redder, make the ears redder, make the nose a little bit redder, and it will give you more life in your flesh tone. Now the problem here is that I'm painting somebody who is one of the undead, and so I kind of have to, you know, tamp that down a little bit, but I still keep some of those principles in play whenever I'm illustrating, you know, even an undead character, which there are plenty of in Nosfero the Cryptwalker. There we go. Now he's starting to come together and look a little bit darker, man. That's what it's about. Oh, actually, I got to try the light out. I haven't even tried some of this stuff. Let me see. Let's darken this and see what happens. Is there less glare? That's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's been interesting. I don't know. I gotta try a lot of different things out. It's so funny how, like, there's some cool stuff happening on this leg that is completely unintentional. Really wild. I did not mean for to render anything there, but sometimes rendering just kind of happens because of the playfulness of the brush strokes. Wow. Really anchor that foot there to the ground, because I just want to have that quality to Harker. It's fun to think about these characters in this adventure. Gosh, can you imagine what it must have been like for this book to have come out? You have no idea what it's about, and you're reading it for the first time. I mean, I know it was a sensation, but my goodness, that must have been a hell of an experience. You know, I mean, that's why I was telling younger, kids, I go, you guys are a part of this very rare generation that got into Harry Potter as kids, and you didn't know how the books were going to go, because they were coming out as you were reading them. But I then think the same thing with Frankenstein and Dracula. When these books came out, you didn't even know what you were about to read. What an amazing experience that must have been. What a trip to have been there for the birth of these things. Just incredible. There we go. I absolutely love just scratching away on the canvas. I'm sure you guys can tell how much I enjoy it, but I do. You hear Bob Ross. I know every time I watch a Bob Ross video or something like that, you hear the sound of the brush scratched away on the canvas, and you can just tell it's a good time, man. It's absolutely fun. Now this is going to be tricky, because this character, I don't really have a good way of showing his face, so it's going to have to just be just a little impression of him. But I want to make sure I show, even with his hairstyle, even with this sort of weird view of him, that I can pull off his, that people would know who he is. Because he did have a particular quality to him that I think I should be able to, create with whatever limited view of him that I have. Because it really isn't, in a lot of ways it's his story, but when I was trying to figure out whether the Doctor or Arthur were going to be the person who was on the ground, I ended up with the Doctor, because I thought Arthur has to be the savage rage in this piece, Quincy's got to be the hand of God, I say, well, actually, maybe Jonathan's more that, and Quincy is, God, it's tough to say. I think the sunset is what that is, actually, come to think of it, but they're all agents in this, but Arthur is just they killed his Lucy, and that's why his face is going to be really important right there. Once I get that face figured out, that's going to be really a tricky one. Yeah. Hey, Michael D, how are you doing, brother? It's great to see you, man. Yeah, we're painting some Dracula stuff, man. We're painting some Dracula stuff. And thank all of you guys for being here. I appreciate it very much. Look at that. Art is a lot of work, but it is if you know why you're doing it, that is the greatest thing. And being here in Comicsgate, being here, just doing the things that we do here to make all of this stuff happen, and celebrating, works in the Western canon that are as important as Dracula. I mean, what more could a guy ask for, to quote Jack Burton? Go. I want to give him sort of floppier hair, because the Doctor, I always think of the Doctor as just being a little bit more awkward and well-meaning, but he's also just kind of like, in a lot of ways, he's a younger Van Helsing. He's just trying to figure things out, and very much still a student, even though he's a doctor in his own right. He's a young doctor. He's at the start of his career, and thought he was going to maybe be making a life with Lucy Westenra, I believe it is, if I'm not wrong, because it's some kind of, it almost feels like it's a anagram for Westerner. It's kind of interesting. So I've always wondered about that aspect of it. Let me see here. And I want to have his coat sort of flipping up here for a little bit of Little bit of emphasis right there. There we go. I got to get him together in there. Hey, what's up, Grey Wolf channel member? It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you're having a great Sunday we're having today. Hail, my friend, hail. Oh, and for everybody who was watching the stream, I did get a notification from YouTube that the problem was the soundtrack. So I may finish that movie up on the next stream. I might just go into the video and remove the audio for those parts, so that we can enjoy it now that I know what the issue is. But there's still something really, I don't know, frustrating about that to me. Because when it's used in the context of a public domain movie, it seems a little bit off that you could have a public domain movie and then not have a public domain, not have the things that are inside of it public domain in the context of being in there. So it's not like I think the song should be public domain because it's in a public domain movie. But when it's in the public domain movie, I think it's got to be included in that. That's a very weird loophole for keeping things able to be copyright struck and all that kind of stuff, because I'm using it in the context, in a copyright-free context. But I guess, who's to say? Who's to say? I gotta come up with a better posture for him. I'm not liking that. I gotta figure out what I want him doing. Because the idea of it is he's just killed this dude right here, but I'm not sure I'm sold on how that would have worked, how that fight would have gone. Yep. Fandom purging the woke virus circa 2024. Amen, amen, amen. Couldn't have said it better. Let's see here. Everybody saying hello, hello, and hail. Love to see it. Yeah, that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. We're here to protect culture in the Western canon. But man, look at how the fun of this. Like, you get right up on the canvas. You won't be able to see all of this once it's done, but I do like to make sure I could show this on a stream, because it's just, getting that sense of the adventure and the drama. I'm almost positive I'm going to end up moving him, or doing something better. Gotta think on this. Gotta think on that bit right there. Everything else I'm liking. Arthur especially is like the one I'm really looking forward to doing, because I want to make sure I get that, that muzzle flash is going to be key. Really want to get the Arthur, muzzle flash in there. Yeah, that's what it's about. Those are probably the two of the biggest moments in this, is what's happening here and what's happening there. And it doesn't mean they need to be a light contrast moment, because that's on a light ground, but that one definitely has to be. Yeah, this dude's gonna be toast. Yeah. I love this kind of stuff, man. I love this kind of action. It's weird because this novel has been around for so long, and you're like, who's gonna make it? You imagine you were reading it at the time. It's when I saw those characters and I saw Quincy Morris in the Bram Stoker Dracula adaptation, I didn't know that those were a big part of the novel. I was actually surprised. No, it doesn't, unfortunately, because it's any clip of the song and it registers it. It's so frustrating. But yeah, that's a good point. I did think about that, but it's I think there'll be a way for me to remove it somehow, or to just silence the parts where it's so much that it's going to cause that, because it did seem like it happened at a particular point in it. But yeah, that was frustrating, because I was really enjoying watching that movie with you guys. I don't know if you guys were having as good a time as I was, but I was really excited by how great that was, and I just thought, why in the heck is this happening? But yeah, it's one of them things. We're going to get past it. Always have to. I mean, when I think of all of the craziness that's happened in the last couple of years with my campaigns, first they stopped making the paper that I've painted on since I was in college. 70 people watching. I salute you. God bless you guys on this fine Sunday. But then they stopped actually making the paper that I printed my books on, and they had an alternative that was very similar. But I had to test that out, and I thought, oh my God, I hope this paper works out. So, I mean, it's just always, and then, gosh, the prices of things going up, inflation, all of that stuff, right, has factored into the production of the books that I've been doing. But we come out the other side. We just keep working. Yeah, I'm going to make him definitely, going to have to put him into the background a little bit right there. Oh my goodness gracious. I love this story so much. I really think that it's in the mix for my favorite book of all time. Just a great book. That's going to be so fun to paint, man. I might have to do that. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'll check with the missus, and if we don't have any plans, I think I might do a Pizza Live on Halloween. That would be really fun. If I do a Pizza Live on Halloween, I might have the missus be there with me. That would be fun.
I will be in Florida.
Never mind, the missus will not be here. She's leaving me. No, she's not. But she's going to not be here. Oh, that's such a bummer.
Sorry. You were going to ditch me for Pizza Live.
I said I was going to invite you to Pizza Live.
Yeah, well, I have to go on that day.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, don't need to say, I love you. It's tough when you have kids, isn't it? Mm-hmm. My goodness, we got to keep them under wraps as best as we can. Oh, my goodness. Let me see here. That. Look at that. Oh man, this is going to be fun. So to put it simply, after all of that that back and forth, it's always tough to figure out all the dates. I will definitely be doing a Pizza Live on Halloween. 100%. I don't know what it's going to entail. I don't know what it's going to be. But we're going to do some fun stuff. And I have another solve for Pizza Live and Pizza Live annoyances. And that's cutting YouTube potentially out of the link and doing it on X, where I have a little less problems with that. So we should ponder that, guys. We should ponder that. Okay, so this part right here, right now, is officially coming together the way it needs to in terms of the structure of it. And again, if you guys want to know how to start thinking like a painter, if that's the thing that someone wants to do, and I'm not talking about drawing and using paint, I mean really thinking like a painter. These videos I do where I'm working on canvas that I'm now able to do because of this new camera setup, this is the stuff that will show you what you need to be thinking about. Blocking in shapes, blocking in values, planes of light, making sure that you have edge control so that people can really see the definition and outline of forms, like here with Quincy's hat and Quincy's back right there to Arthur's head right there in that space. All of this stuff, that's all essential to the painting process. That's all the stuff that you really got to have going on when you're doing this work, Yeah, Bela Lugosi, yes indeed. I would love to do something with Bela Lugosi. There's so many movies I would like to do, but there's something I really want to do. Oh, watching on TV, it looks great. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. I'm chasing Bob Ross. That's my plan. And I'm glad it's working out because, canvas, there's just something about painting on canvas that is really, I think, relaxing and soothing to watch. I don't know how I would describe that, but it just is. You sit back on a Sunday and, you're just, or Saturday, depending on if you're in Australia, of course, Michael. I'm always thinking of you and the family. You kind of just get to watch someone working. There's something really fun about it. And thinking about, Lucy and thinking about Mina and thinking about all those things and painting and talking about this stuff, I really do. I mean, I hope that somebody checks out this stream at some point, if not already, and says to themselves, I want to go read that book, or I want to go listen to that audio book, or maybe I've never watched the Dracula from 1931. I want to watch that. Whatever this, if this puts you in a better mood for spookiness and all of that stuff, then I've done my job. And if this gets you to want to back Nosfero the Crypt Walker, I've done my job. All of it. Because that stuff is, to me, it's all tied together in terms of trying to add just positivity and value to your life and bring some fun to it. Nosfero is such a uplifting message in it. It's such an uplifting story. You know, the idea that that you can persevere and you can overcome things and you can, you know, be a positive force. That's the stuff that it's really speaks to me anyway as an artist. Let me see what he's going to do here. Okay. Going to have her back a little bit more down. There we go. That's going to make for a great image because I want to have his hand on her back right here. Because Van Helsing's kind of just, you know, holding her at bay and protecting her as all this stuff's going on. And she kind of is looking away because she can't really bear to watch it. As these guys just do battle with the forces of evil. Let me see here. Hello again, Shanth and chat. Hello to you, Cranberry Langers. Absolutely right. Yeah, I'm glad that this is working so well. That's kind of a shock to me because I did not know how the tech was going to come together. Oh my goodness, guys. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I got to wrap up because I got to grab something to eat. I am feeling a bit peckish, so I need to get some food. But thank you guys so much for being here on this wonderful Sunday. I feel like this tech test has been great. I'm going to have to try it with other stuff, but so far, I'm fairly pleased with it. And just being able to adjust, see if I can make this happen here. Being able to do things like adjust the light to make it brighter and to have it be, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but having, you know, it be brighter and having there be more contrast, but also being able to take the light and just kind of like dip it down and adjust it. Changing the color of the light is really cool. So we've got some real cool possibilities here for artwork and for painting and for streams. But you guys have watched, this is only the second day I've worked on this, and actually only worked on it for an hour or two last night before I went to bed. So this is it, guys. And so thank you guys so much for being here, for checking out the stream. We'll be doing this again soon now that I've got this set up. It's so much easier to use. I can't overstate that. And thank you guys. So I will see all of you guys very, very soon. I promise we're going to be up to more fun on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you are following everything. And just got one of those lights. Sean J, they're cool. Yeah, they are so great. I love it. I love those lights, Grey Wolf. They are fantastic. So thank you guys so much, and allow me to say this as I often do. From the heart of Lovecraft Country, in the birthplace of American religious liberty, this has been Shanth Enjeti, and you're watching Shanth Enjeti Art. Speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, peace be with you, guys. And that's what it's about. Yep. Guys, go check out Shelby. He's drawing live right now. Au revoir, Emo Trash. Take care, Katie. Just saw you there. Jumped. Yeah, take care all. Thank you. You're welcome. Michael, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are great. I appreciate you. Auf Wiedersehen. Vielen Dank. And I will see all of you guys very, very soon. Take care, Mark, and stay safe, brother. Take care, Gaz, my brother in the UK. I will see all of you guys soon. And here are the credits for all of my channel members. So if you become a channel member, I will make sure I include your name in the credits. So this is for all of you fantastic people, and hopefully these credits are updated. You never know. You never know. Take care, everybody. I will see you soon.